Hi everyone, Jake Estes here, Solutions Engineer for Avalara Europe. Today I will be demonstrating to you how our cross-border duty calculator works in Avatax in the admin console, if you will. I'm going to do kind of a quick whistle-stop tour today so everyone understands what the system is, how it works, and kind of the back-end maintenance and management of our tax engine. Okay, so we're in Avatax right now. There's a lot in here, and I'm only going to focus on the cross-border duty calculator piece of it. Of course, those of you who are familiar with Avatax know it does U.S. sales tax and Canadian compliance as well. It's a global tax engine, but we are going to focus on cross-border. So, with that being said, we are going to focus on the first off, just the configuration of the engine itself. So any user of our software is going to have to go through some configuration in addition to the integration work to getting their source system talking to the engine. This can be used, of course, by end user retailers who want to incorporate the tax engine into their shopping cart online or into their ERP for wholesale orders, for example, phone orders. Any sales channel that a retailer sells through can be connected to Avatax, either through a pre-built connector, of which we have more than 1,000, or through standardized APIs. So we have a REST API available for our customers to integrate with and communicate with directly. The other use case is that if you're a logistics firm, you can use this in kind of an advisory capacity for your clients. So if you wanted to use us for HS code classification, you could certainly do that. If you wanted to advise your clients on the duty rates they should be applying based on the HS codes in the ship to countries, you could maintain your own Avatax account here and then use the rates and the rules that you discover in our engine to advise your clients. Okay, so we're kind of open to any model that suits your use case. Okay, so on the configuration side, we would want you to, whether you're an end user or kind of a consultant, to turn on tax collection in any authority where you want to figure out what the rates are. So we'll skip over the sales and use tax because that is of course very US focused. VAT and GST rates are enabled here. So you literally just come into the account here. You can see I've got Canada set up. I've got all the provinces in Canada set up for import VAT and import GST. And you're going to identify whether or not you're the importer of record, permanent establishment, the effective and expiration dates of your VAT numbers, if you have a VAT number in the destination country. Turning on VAT collection can be done here by saying add new country. At the top, you'll see the countries you already have turned on. They will be omitted from the list below. So below that, we can see that we've got tons of different countries where we have not turned on tax collection. So if we wanted to all of a sudden start collecting VAT or calculating VAT in Kosovo, we just tick the box for Kosovo, Latvia perhaps, Cape Verde, any countries or jurisdictions, you just turn on here. If you don't tick the box here, tax collection will not be enabled for that country, okay? Simple as that. Same process follows for duty rates, okay? So if you want us to calculate duties, you come in here to the customs duty category under tax type, and you will turn on tax collection here. The screens look the exact same. It's just a matter of you turning on each tax type that you need. So if you want to calculate in Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, wherever, just come in, tick the boxes, simple as that. I like to think it's fairly intuitive to set up. We try to put things in plain English, easy for folks to understand. Okay. Now, once we've turned on and done the rest of our configuration for different tax types, what we're going to need to do is figure out what products we are selling or what products our customers, the end users, are selling. That is done through an HS code mapping exercise. So if you have your own codes, you can import them into Avalara's software here. If you're using Avalara to map your products to HS codes, we will do that import for you. Once the import is complete, you'll have your item codes here with a description if you'd like, the Avalara tax code perhaps that you're using, but more importantly for duty calculations, we're going to have the universal tariff code, the 6-digit code presented to you here. And when I go ahead and click on this, I can see all of the country-specific full codes here. So I've got my tariff codes for the EU, HTS US codes for the United States of America, et cetera, HS codes for Canada. Any country I ship to for any products I'm selling will all be housed in here. You can add attributes as well, so things like country of manufacture, Are you part of some kind of trade agreement you want to take advantage of? Weights, size, things like that. Any other attributes that is relevant from a duty and VAT perspective are accounted for at the item level here. So you get to configure this before it hits the API. Okay. Once we have all this set up, we're going to be off to the races in terms of calculation. Okay. So I'll go into my transaction library. Now, when a transaction hits our API, you can either just use it for a rate lookup and not store it anywhere, or you can store the transaction itself in this library here. Okay, so if you're an e-commerce seller, for example, as you have customers placing orders and you're shipping products out, you'll be storing transactions in here for reporting purposes. Okay, now you can sort and filter across the different transaction types. You can customize different columns if you want to hide or view certain things when you log into the application. Searching for transactions is, again, pretty intuitive. You can search by invoice number, by customer ID, filter by country, region within a country perhaps. Date range, of course, is an obvious one. But ultimately, when I go in and I click on one of these transactions, I will see all the attributes that Avatax has stored for calculation and reporting purposes, and any notes on the transaction that I have here for compliance purposes. Okay, so I've got my order number, 37XB, document dates, reporting currencies, invoice currencies, any adjustments that have been made to the transaction and the nature of that adjustment. Okay, invoice messaging in the context of de minimis tracking. So Avatax will look at whether or not the order value breached or sustained below the de minimis threshold for each tax type. So under this situation, we're making a shipment from the UK into Toronto, Canada. Okay, and because the shipment here is above the de minimis threshold, we made a note here. So shipment meets Canada import duty, shipment meets Canada VAT. It's actually GST, but the message says VAT. Therefore, duties and indirect tax GST apply here. Below that, you will see line level attributes of the transaction. Okay, meaning that we have identified what the product is. So you've passed us a product description, a men's gold watch, 42 millimeters in size, for about 800 pounds. Okay, you sold it. See that we've sold in GBP up here. We've actually done a conversion behind the scenes to ensure that we check and make sure that it does in fact meet the Canada de minimis value. But when I expand on this line, I see my Avalara system tax code, so I can apply the correct import GST, but also my tariff code, my Canadian HS code here. So below that, we've got a duty rate of 7% for this product. We have a import GST rate of 5%, okay? And some local tax in Ontario, okay? So what we've done here is a calculation of 7% on 800 pounds, okay? And we have increased the taxable basis to 856, and then we have calculated 8% on top of the 856, and we have $64, okay? 64 pounds, I should say. So the total amount is presented to you here. You have the tax breakdown. We also have a shipping charge, okay? So express, probably overnight shipping or something to that effect. We have a freight code here, which we've calculated tax on as well. So here you have the federal tax and the provincial HST tax as well, the harmonized sales tax in Canada for Ontario. So we've got line level tax calculation. We've identified what it is, where it's being sent to, and the built-in logic will automatically apply the duty rates based on whether or not you've reached the de minimis or not, as well as any additional charges. Of course, freight does not have an HS code. It's not a product. And so we've still calculated taxes on other line and service types as well, okay? So that is Avatax, specifically the cross-border duty calculator in Avatax. There's lots more to it, but I won't go through all that today. This is just kind of again, quick product tour to show you kind of the muscle behind the engine, what is stored. Of course, there's many different ways to deploy this depending on what type of business you are. If you're a partner of Avalara in the logistics space, carrier type of organization, or an end user, it can be deployed in many different ways. So speak to us about how you'd prefer to use the technology. The engine is very flexible and it's very agnostic as well. So as long as the right inputs, the right transaction information, product information is getting sent to the engine, it will produce a correct duty rate as well. Okay, so thank you all very much for your time. Thank you for listening and watching along today. If there's any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out, to your partner manager or to myself directly. I'm more than happy to help. And yeah, thank you very much. Take care.